Hello and welcome to yet another video. This is the fourth episode of the story, and a chance meeting leads Naruto Uzumaki to learn Genjutsu. Sure, he lacks talent, but once Naruto sets his mind to something, he will never give up until he completes it, and Naruto will not stop until he is a master of Genjutsu. Please like and subscribe to show your support. Now let's begin. Naruto, Team 7, and the remaining ANBU managed to return to Tazuna's house without being completely destroyed. The bridge battle had been physically and emotionally taxing for the group, affecting everyone involved in some way. Naruto had thrown out his gray shirt and had to remove the cuffs of his gray pants, which were badly burnt and covered in mud. Despite his chest, arms, and neck being fully healed, the burns persisted and he still managed to make incessant movements when stepping. He wasn't the only one who fell. Only Sakura survived the battle without injury, as Kakashi sustained severe burns and Sasuke was left to his left. The ANBU was also affected. The cat's katana caused her to bruise her fingers and have stiff wrists, as well as a cut on her thigh after encountering Ouchi. Swollen knuckles and scattered sunburn wounds were present all over the bear's body. Fox had opted to return to the house before administering any serious treatment to her teammates, and she departed shortly after sealing Snake's body into a black sealing scroll. Inari was the one who gathered the locals and convinced them to assist him in expelling Gat after witnessing Naruto defend him and his mother from Gat's hostile gang. It had motivated him to protect his family. He couldn't help but smile when he laid eyes on Gat's body, his only emotion being unrequited happiness. Gat's life and death were eternal. He was the first to arrive at Inari's house by knocking on the door, and as he waited for someone to open it, a look at his eyes opened. His eyes were filled with guilt as if they were swimming. "Sorry, I heard you," Inari said. "I apologize for my rude remarks. I'm sorry that you thought it was." "Inari, don't be upset," Kakashi said. "We're aware of your situation, but now you can focus on anything else. Now is the time to be safe." With a smile, Inari stated. Tazuna was seen as the door opened only moments later. With fatigued eyes, he gazed at each and every one of them. "Is it true that the mission was successful?" Tazuna inquired. Inari remarked, "Grandpa. Gat's life has been cut short." Tazuna's eyes widened as he played. "According to Naruto, is it true that he is no longer alive?" She conveyed her apologies for the torment she has caused you. Tears of pure joy streamed down Tazuna's face, causing him to smile. Tazuna wiped his tears from his eyes and exclaimed, "That's awesome. Now we can finally rebuild, accomplishing many things that were previously impossible. We're unencumbered. At last, we're liberated." Naruto was ecstatic to his senses. All the hard work they put in to help Tazuna had finally paid off. The three ANBU were more composed, even though he couldn't see their faces. The death of their friend wouldn't be a complete loss, at least not in vain. Tazuna was almost caught off guard by the Tsunami's threat. Tsunami's mother greeted her son with a warm embrace as she spoke. "Inari. I wish to convey my happiness and thankfulness for your safe arrival." "Yes, Tsunami," Tazuna asserted. "Gat's demise has been confirmed. He was the victim of a fatal incident. Kakashi stated that the person he had hired was responsible for his death." "Thank goodness," Tsunami declared with a smile. She gazed at the shinobi and gasped in shock. "All of you, please enter. Is there anything you'd like me to do for you?" Fox responded by saying, "I can handle it, but I need some space. Thanks to all of you, I am determined to do the utmost to help our country." The group of shinobi were taken inside the living room by her, and she made an effort to make the most of the available space. Fox expressed gratitude to Tsunami by saying, "Thank you," and then heading to the kitchen. She began to work after instructing her group to arrange their injuries in order of severity, and then instructed them to lie on the floor. She centered her chakra on her palms and began treating Sasuke, who was the most vulnerable. Seeing a friend and comrade die in front of him, it was hard for him to imagine having to work, but Fox wasn't let down by it. Sakura. Ask the house's matron for blankets and wet cloths. While Fox was repairing Sasuke's many injuries, Sakura nodded and ran to the kitchen. Naruto kept a close eye on her. In summary, despite their challenging task, they were able to achieve their goal. Naruto was immersed in a pool of red liquid. I sensed that the liquid was heavier than water and had a copper-like scent. Despite the blood thickening as Naruto swam faster and faster, he eventually met his two murdered companions on the shore. Naruto was able to observe the organs and flesh inside them as they were clothed in the same manner that they died, with blood spilling out of their wounds into the sand and finally descending on the river of blood. Their eyes were red, and they had black concentric circles within them. "You killed us, Naruto," exclaimed one of them. "What is the sensation of being a murderer?" inquired the other person. "It seems to be good," Naruto muttered, and the blood ran out of his skin, covering his face and staining his hair with a dark red dye. "According to you, Naruto, you're a murderer. A scourge. You are detested by everyone for that reason. You took pleasure in killing us." Naruto attempted to remove the gruesome Genjutsu with his hands, but it didn't succeed. He made multiple attempts, but none of them resulted in success. According to Naruto, the next chapter begins with a brief overview. You can't surrender your fate. Deep inside, you are aware of who you really are. You're a murderer. The thugs were so powerful that Naruto couldn't contain his fear and anger, but still managed to call them a killer when they saw their eyes change from red with concentric circles like kurenai to red featuring only one black vertical slit. After waking up, Naruto was in a state of cold sweat as he drank the bandages that Fox had used to cover his injuries. The sheets on his bed were shivering and he was taking in ragged breath. He took a deep breath and sat cross-legged, trying to find his place in the middle of the room so that he could drift back to sleep. Naruto eventually fell asleep and slouched, shutting his eyes and entering his dream world again. It was clear that the individuals with those stunning red eyes were their rightful owner, not the same thugs who were killed by him the day before. Sasuke ate his breakfast at Tazuna's residence the day after confronting Mai Terumi and her companions on the bridge. Breathing was painful and he initially found it difficult to lift his spoon. Sasuke became aware of the severe impact his battle with Chjr had on him. His left hand, wrist, and forearm were either swollen or had deep gashes and cuts, making it irritating to eat with only his right hand. Despite being a lefty, he enjoyed using both hands to feed himself. Despite Fox's efforts to bandage his wounds, she forced him to take time off to allow his arm and other injured parts to heal. Sasuke was in a state of bliss as Inari gazed into his eye. The level of improvement was higher than what he had experienced previously. The boy's whining had a profound impact on Sasuke, who had to stop his habit of shouting at him multiple times. However, at the same time, he may have been like that. At one point, he felt like the only person left when his hope was that that man would return and kill him in the same way as killing the rest of his family. Despite his failure, Sasuke was left with the sole option of ending his brother's life and ending the nightmare. With irritation, he growled at the sensation of a bothersome itching sensation that had crawled from his wrist to his elbow and then scrubbed with an intense fury. It was a bummer that he couldn't train, especially after unlocking the Sharingan. He was on the brink of killing his brother, but he also came closer to finding peace in his life. He reflected on the circumstances surrounding the ANBU who lost his life in combat. He had also made an effort to seek retribution, and it resulted in significant financial losses. Was he prepared to abandon everything and everyone in favor of seeking revenge, or did his approach differ from that of ANBU? He wasn't attempting to kill Itachi because he was defeated in combat or for any other minor reason. He was attempting to kill him to restore his family's reputation and prevent the memories from haunting him every day. He had witnessed his brother murdering his parents and clan members on numerous occasions. He was exhausted from the constant annoyance, dissatisfied with everything. His wish was to avoid seeing all the people he loved perish daily, without any means of action. His eyes were on his fellow workers and he contemplated the idea of getting them to assist him, as cooperation could surpass individual weakness. With the assistance of a highly skilled kunoichi, he was able to defeat Chjr and emerge victorious. Kakashi was able to overcome Mei Terumi and use her techniques, which were easily imitated by him. Learning and mastering that fire dragon jutsu technique would be a valuable pursuit. If only he had the ability to train, it would be greatly appreciated. It could be advantageous to fight with someone else when he finally confronted that man. He gazed into Sakura's eyes and observed her turn away, revealing her perpetual blushing. Then Sasuke sighed. "We'll have to wait and see how it turns out." Sakura's heart clenched and her face burned up in fear when Sasuke broke eye contact with her, unbeknownst to him. The sight of Sasuke, who was so cool and admirable that she could barely eat, left her feeling completely dazed. Although she would never reveal it to him unless she was certain he wouldn't turn against her, she knew that her feelings for him were more than just a slight infatuation. Her friendship with Ino had been cut short, and it helped her to feel more comfortable among her friends, but this romantic interest had transformed into a real-life bond. Sasuke's realization dawned upon her as she watched him fight and suffer beatings. Like everyone else, she was fine until it made her sick. Despite the fact that everyone else had made an appearance on this bridge and their injuries were painful, what did she have to prove for it? There was nothing she hadn't done or said. Her intention was to assist someone, but she recognized her lack of mastery in being a kunoichi, despite the fact that she should have been better equipped. The parents were both strong shinobi and were considered among the best two-person teams that wore the hidden leaf forehead protector before their retirement. Her brain and decent chakra control were the only things she possessed. It's possible that she could take advantage of something with it. It's conceivable that she could become a great kunoichi like her mother, Fox, or Cat, who Sasuke evidently respected. Perhaps Sasuke would finally show interest in her if she transformed into a powerful kunoichi and make something out of nothing. Following a week-long recovery period, Team 7 was all set to leave the Land of Waves and stand at the entrance to the newly constructed bridge. The morning sunlight shone through the land and illuminated the water below the bridge, making it shine brightly. It was the ideal moment for them to depart. They might be back home before the day's end if they were lucky. Naruto completed the mission and then utilized his shadow clones to assist Tazuna with any necessary repairs. The bridge's construction was expedited by the clones, resulting in the entire village visiting to see their saved ones. "Thanks for your hard work," Tsunami remarked. "You can come back anytime." Tazuna remarked that he had mistaken the children for being unselfish and young. "Thank you for giving us hope. We can now live without fear and not worry about anything. We can now anticipate a promising future." Tazuna's project included the completion of the bridge and the installation of a plaque at the entrances to pay tribute to those who perished while attempting to defend their country. The ANBU had witnessed and appreciated the gesture before they left. Sakura smirked. Sasuke expressed his delight by saying, "We were so glad." "It's not a problem at all." Kakashi's eye shrunk, turning into a tiny crescent shape. "We're glad to lend a hand to you, guys. We will always welcome you in the Land of Waves, as you are our pride and joy," Tsunami declared. Naruto, dressed in an orange sweater, replied, "We're not the heroes here, you are. You're welcome, we helped you out a lot. The reason for constructing this bridge was solely due to your contribution." "Naruto," Kakashi said, "don't be so modest," with a hand on his head. "Naruto, you had faith in us, so why do you believe in yourself?" Inari's eyes lit up. Naruto's humor was subdued. "I think you're correct, heh. You've changed so much, Inari." He gave Inari a thumbs up. "State it plainly." As Team 7 left the Land of Waves, one of the local villagers inquired Tazuna about the bridge's name. Tazuna inquired about the name of the bridge. He chuckled greatly. The Bridge of Dreams is named after the people who died protecting our land and those who never stopped believing in the possibility of their dreams becoming a reality. After a day of traveling, Team 7 finally arrived at the village hidden in the leaves. Kakashi allowed the 3 ANBU to depart early to inform the Hokage that their mission was changing dramatically. Kakashi replied that the more he learned about it, the better. Meanwhile, Naruto was happy to finally get back to the village he called home. With great anticipation, he planned to meet Kurenai and share his experience in Genjutsu while also keeping the story of her Taijutsu training intact. His teammates were relaxed and happy, and he didn't even bother to look at them. Upon entering the village gates, a Chunin who was assigned to the group ushered them in without any fuss over proper documentation or the purpose of their arrival in the Ninja village. Finally, Team 7 arrived at the Hokage's office where Hiruzen Sarutobi, the current Hokage and third member of the village, sat behind his desk. The village was as far away as Naruto could see, and he gazed admirably at it from behind. The Hokage remarked that it would have been better if Bear, Fox, and Cat had submitted their mission reports before your arrival, Kakashi, otherwise he would not have doubted his decision to send a team of rookies on an S-rank mission. How high is Naruto's S-rank? Iruka explained the division of missions to the team upon their arrival and did not mention an S-rank mission. Sakura inquired about his thoughts before he could answer, S-rank? How did you come to this conclusion? Mei Terumi wasn't just an S-rate, Kakashi explained. She played a crucial role in the rebellion against the Bloody Mist's government and was widely expected to become Mizukage if the current one were removed. Can you explain how she managed to manage a team that included renowned hunters, ninjas, and 7 swordsmen of the Hidden Mist? It wasn't just about her abilities. Political factors can also impact the classification of a mission's rank. Sakura nodded and remained silent. Genin is not expected to take S-rank missions, as stated by the Hokage. Kakashi, can you elaborate on the reasons behind your decision to keep going, Kakashi? Kakashi breathed deeply. I'll start with the basics. We departed from the village with Tazuna. We spent several hours traveling and were soon surrounded by a heavy mist. Naruto aided us in discovering the source of the mist, a young swordsman named Chjr. While I aimed to identify his target, I allowed the genin to take down him. Tazuna was the one who made it clear. After Sakura sent his water clone, I fought and defeated the boy who was exhausted from fighting Naruto and his shadow clones. In the process, I compelled Tazuna to clarify that Gat, a shipping magnate with partial control over the land of waves, was targeting him to eliminate him and gain complete authority over his country. I clung to the expertise of my team and my own expertise, so we proceeded with the task. Chjr was secured before I requested an ANBU ninja to bring him back to the village. We proceeded towards the land of waves and encountered Ao, who was also aiming at Tazuna. Naruto's assistance enabled me to take Ao out and, with the help of Sasuke and his guidance, I was able to bring him down. I was about to kill him when a thick fog caught us unnecessarily, and Ao was taken away by an enemy gunman. Mei Terumi was responsible for the mist, and instead of fighting, she made a quick escape. ANBU came to our aid and, at the behest of my request, they stayed with us for the entirety of our mission. I called to continue the mission in response to their arrival and Mei's presence. Over the course of the next week, I trained my team to climb trees and water bodies, but Naruto was able to do so without any instruction. After a brief glance at Naruto, the Hokage turned to look at Kakashi. After Sasuke and Sakura finished their training exercises, ANBU's team made contact with Mei, Ao, and Chjr on the unfinished bridge several days later. As we fought them, we split into 2 groups. During a fight with Chjr, Sasuke and the ANBU codenamed Cat managed to knock down the monster. After confronting Mei in combat, the Hokage and Naruto engaged in a Genjutsu exchange. Despite Mei's distraction, I saw it as a chance to use the Rasengan on her. It was enough to knock her down. Gat entered the room and betrayed her before she could continue fighting. Mei's response was to end the fight against us by killing him. By negotiating with her, I was able to make a deal that she assured me would be satisfied if she became Mizukage. When Gat departed, the remaining group of thugs were about to loot the village, but Naruto prevented them from leaving while the villagers in the Land of Waves took care of the rest. As they say, that's what it means. The Hokage nodded and Naruto's stern expression revealed the absence of the old man who had shown him solace. I want to commend you, Team 7, on your outstanding performance. It is highly unusual for a team of males to be able to carry out an S-rank mission. Nevertheless, as the mission was designated for C-rank promotion, you will be compensated with the appropriate amount of money, and may receive a bonus for additional services. The mission will be fully documented in 3 days, as per my expectations. The mission's fragility means that you will also have a 1-week break. Don't worry, as you'll be committing to 10 D-rank missions of my preference. After a short period of happiness, the Hokage's smile softened as he felt the mood shift back to its previous tension. No one is left standing, except Naruto, for who are you? Naruto's trembling was evident as he witnessed his team abandoning him and the Hokage. Despite his initial confidence in the Hokage, it was later discovered that the nine-tailed fox had been sealed within him, a fact that even the host could not deny. The Hokage's trust in him was further diminished when he learned that the Uzumaki were once a well-known clan. With his last name being Uzumaki, the Hokage could have inferred that his family was significant. Good to see you back, Naruto, said the Hokage, who looked as if he were an elderly gentleman with a warm smile. He recollected the moments he shared with the man that were most similar to those of a grandfather and attempted to rationalize why the Hokage would be dishonest and unhelpful. He had to make a complete change and did everything alone, even with the help of his friends Kurenai, Shikamaru, Kakashi, Iruka, and the Ikarakus. This was something he took pride in, as it allowed him to continue doing most of the work himself. My request, amigos, replied the Hokage with a grim demeanor. I was wondering where you acquired your fighting skills so effectively. Is that too much of a stretch? It's quite challenging to accomplish what you did. Naruto inquired, why haven't Sasuke or Sakura come along? Clearly annoyed by the fact that they were targeted. Sakura outsmarted the CHJR Kid's clone, and Sasuke defeated the real one. Sakura is a bright young kunoichi who has parents who are willing to pass on their experience and skill. Despite having no instructors after the massacre, Sasuke was still the top performer in ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu. He met expectations with success as a result of his rise in skill. You had no one to turn to, and although you had exceptional energy levels and endurance, your other abilities were lacking. Naruto's pride was evident as he smiled and asked for something to improve. His surrogate grandfather's face was disguised in a stern mask when he faced him. In the past month, I dedicated myself to repairing my mistakes. I came to the realization that if I wanted to achieve my objectives, I needed to work towards them and ensure that I was backing up everything I stated. According to the Hokage, Naruto, you can rely on that mentality. It seems like nobody taught you how to climb trees with chakra or use genjutsu properly. Naruto's heart raced against his chest as he breathed in, exhaling deeply. Kakashi-sensei was my guide for genjutsu, but I learned most of the techniques by myself. With a smile on his face, the Hokage expressed. If that's accurate, I'm happy to hear that you're taking care of your problems on your own, Naruto. I thought your situation would make it difficult, if not impossible, to learn how to cast in genjutsu. Regardless, I am honored that you have made such a significant progress. I am always willing to assist you in any way possible. Naruto nodded as he spoke. According to my understanding, Lord Hokage is a man of many talents. I'm glad you're willing to lend me a hand. He left the Hokage's office, leaving the old master to himself. Naruto was in his training mode for 4 days after Team 7's return to the village, undergoing intense training. To compensate for his absence, he put in a lot of effort to complete the exercises in his training book and Kurenai's exercises. Naruto instructed his shadow clones on hand seal speed and chakra control exercises. By enlisting shadow clones to aid him with such matters, Kakashi was able to significantly speed up his training. Despite having difficulty repelling multiple shadow clones simultaneously outside of a battle situation, adrenaline was the only thing that could alleviate the headaches caused by blood, but he found an escape route. His clones would be eliminated after 10 minutes each, and the rest of them could learn from their mistakes and adjust their training accordingly. It was strange that he had not experienced the effects of his first kill. The memory of killing Gat's hired thugs caused him to panic and he had nightmares about it, but that was not the end. Despite knowing that suppressing his emotions would not affect his mission's effectiveness, he wasn't in danger of dying. Is it not expected that he would feel the urge to kill, especially for the first time? He hadn't seen Kurenai since returning to the village and Shikamaru was nowhere to be found, so this made it impossible for him to ask them for advice. The Ikarakus, who were not military personnel and didn't comprehend his situation, departed to be with Irika because of his busyness. 3 days prior to today, Kakashi had taken the vacation to participate in private training and declared his decision not to return for several days. In summary, he was confused. Upon his return to the village, he had no nightmares about killing the thugs. He was so disturbed by the nightmare he had, which happened the night after his act, that it would be difficult for him to get over it. Naruto shook his head and stood up. After his break, he had to improve his taijutsu skills to successfully punish his opponent who didn't respond to his attacks. In an attempt to increase the strength of his sensor, he summoned a shadow clone and then closed his eyes. After securing the clone, he began working. While meditating, Naruto examined the Yin chakra's levels and observed the bubbling and flowing Yang chakra surrounding him, with a smile on his face. The growth and enlargement of his Yin chakra were remarkable, as it was barely there when he began meditating. "Naruto?" was asked by a voice that was well known. "It's been a long time, right?" Naruto looked into Kurenai's eyes wide open, before touching the reddened eyes of the girl he kept dreaming about. "Oops, it has been going on. I long for you, Kurenai-sensei." The realization that Naruto had just said to him caused his eyes to widen. Kurenai expressed a smile of approval, saying, According to Naruto, there's no need to worry about anything. I also miss you." Before he remembered something crucial, Naruto's smile broadened slightly. "I saw you a few days ago, but I couldn't locate you. Can you tell me where you're at now?" "Yes, we did," Kurenai confirmed. "We were compelled to communicate a message to the Tea Party community in the land of tea. We had a successful mission, but it was short-lived." "That's a good point to make." The intensity of his smile diminished. With a grimace on her face, Kurenai crouched down and sat in the Seiza position while looking at him. "According to Naruto, you're perfectly fine with this. You know that you can tell me anything and I won't blame you for it." Naruto's breath was filled with a sense of calmness and tranquility. "Our objective was to accomplish this. It was not a typical C rank. In order to protect our client, we had to face 3 formidable fighters in combat." Kurenai scowled, her fingers in an awkward clenched motion. "Perform the task without hesitation." Naruto savored his food. "We were able to push them away, but we were fortunate when the leader of the Shinobi group decided to rescue her fellow fighter. She came back after a week, and we had to confront her and her team once more. We were on the bridge that day when 2 thugs tried to kidnap our client's family, but I punched them before they could be stopped and attacked them. You committed the act of killing them." Naruto's features caught his gaze as he nodded and displayed a deep-seated frown. He was slouching and his eyes warping. Shortly after, Kurenai embraced Naruto in a hug that was deeply affectionate. You must have been hard on yourself to face that level for the first time, but it's just part of our routine. Naruto was left in a state of almost silence due to the warmth of Kurenai's body and the sensation of her chest against his head, as well as her soothing effect on his frailty. Naruto stated, "That's the fact," after he became vocal. The sound was soft, but still audible. It wasn't true. I experienced nothing other than death and only had a single nightmare, but that was it. I believe that I had the right to feel remorse and experience multiple instances of their passing. I don't experience any emotions, at least not if I reflect on it. Anything and everything. Naruto stepped out of the embrace, gazing at Kurenai as he grasped her tightly. He had always been troubled by the notion of being a murderer who doesn't feel any regret or anxiety about killing someone else, and at one point felt like the nine-tailed fox from Dale Brooks. What's the significance? Kurenai inquired with a smile. You've learned to accept the possibility of killing and have no regrets, as long as it is done for the right reasons, such as defending your team and village. If you do that, you'll become a great ninja and an amazing human being. Indeed, you are already outstanding. According to Naruto, do you genuinely mean it? She nodded in agreement. It is true that I do. The first time I committed murder, I was concerned because I didn't feel a trace of guilt after it. Nevertheless, my father relayed to me the same information I shared with you. Whether you feel guilty about killing others or have the courage to move on, there is no shame in that sentiment. Naruto's embrace with Kurenai was marked by a genuine smile, as he hugged his friend back. His concerns about his peculiar and unusual emotions dissipated as soon as he became more at ease. The strange nightmare he had the previous week would undoubtedly fade from his memory. Kurenai, thank you for your help. I'm glad that I had the chance to talk to you about this. The pleasure is mine alone, Naruto. They continued to hug one another like that. After breaking the hug, Kurenai slowly stood up, dusting herself and smiling as Naruto's face appeared to be glowing red. Naruto, I have a piece of knowledge that I would like to share with you. To be honest, it's all about you. She was interrupted by the sound of windswept leaves. The ANBU, who was wearing a cat-masked outfit, said, Naruto Uzumaki, I am the Hokage and I need you to come over. Naruto rose from his position, attempting to make him blush. I recall you joining us in our journey to the land of waves. Ah, that's accurate. Kurenai, the Hokage, is also looking forward to seeing you. If you have nothing else to do, we can leave as soon as possible. As Kat put her hand on Naruto's shoulder, Kurenai waited for him to release his grasp by holding the ladder first. I can do this for you, Kurenai declared, her voice shivering with cold. The cat nodded and used the body flicker to exit the clearing. Are you ready? Kurenai questioned. Naruto nodded as he spoke. Let's go, Kurenai-sensei. Kurenai centered her chakra and immediately led him away from the clearing. You didn't inform Naruto that you were among the beneficiaries of Kurenai's aid, declared the Hokage. After entering his office, Naruto and Kurenai made their way over there. His voice was piercing. You didn't disclose to me that you had the ability to sense chakras naturally. Naruto said, No, sorry, I didn't mean to, but instead pointed at the old Hokage with a scorching gaze. I was telling the truth, but Kakashi-sensei helped me figure out why my Genjutsu wasn't working. Despite smiling, Kurenai refrained from uttering any words in the edgewise direction. The mission report I provided you with was in line with Kakashi-sensei's statement, and I didn't make any alterations to it. Due to the nature of the mission, it had to be done as an S-rank task. Kurenai gave a gasp. Naruto inquired about the S-rank and his position in politics. Quite, as the Hokage put it, was his response. She nodded and responded, Kurenai, can you share a good reason why you decided to assist Naruto in his training today? Yes, Lord Hokage. My friend Naruto told me he wanted to be a master of Genjutsu. He urged me to assist him and I trained him to become faster on his feet while also teaching him Genjutsu. I was confident that I had a better chance of teaching him than Kakashi, who didn't train him or his team. Nevertheless, it seems like that is no longer the situation. The Hokage refrained from speaking. He wasn't exhibiting any signs of surprise, even if he was surprised. This is a remarkable realization. In Naruto, a sensor and Genjutsu practitioner must possess sufficient control over their chakra to function effectively. Although I thought you would be a challenger, you have now proved me wrong. While the Hokage and Kurenai were facing each other, Naruto smiled broadly. Kurenai nodded and held a book with the hidden cloud symbol inscribed on it, just like Naruto did. She read the book and then paused on Naruto's page. Observe a moment and observe. Naruto Uzumaki's genin threat level is sea level, so if you have to focus on the description instead of the physical details, it will be more effective. Naruto Uzumaki is reputed to possess exceptional abilities in using Genjutsu, managing to capture numerous bandits within a single deception and eliminating them shortly after. By mastering Genjutsu and using the shadow clone from the hidden leaf, he was able to survive a confrontation with Mei Terumi, the ever-shifting mist, and one of the few active S-rank shinobi recorded. He compelled her to retreat with the assistance of copy ninja Kakashi, who had captured her in an illusion and given him an opportunity to cause severe harm. Use extreme caution when dealing with this. Shinobi. Upon finishing his bingo book entry, the Hokage read Alias, the Blade of Illusion, and was impressed by the relationship's remarkable outcomes. Naruto stated that Kakashi-sensei had created a false impression on Mei, and she eventually gave up after killing Gat. The information in the bingo book is merely an interpretation of how the hidden cloud documented the series of events. It was odd to use incorrect information to describe someone, but maybe that was the only relevant information. He had never encountered anyone who could have observed them. Naruto finally admitted that his name was cool, saying, "I hope you're okay with it." "It's true," Kurenai declared. "Despite not being a mundane name, my name doesn't quite capture the imagination of enemy shinobi." "You have to be cool, right?" Naruto asked with a smile. Kurenai gave it back. "Your initial entry in a bingo book is an impressive feat," the Hokage observed. "You may have accomplished your goals, but it's crucial to maintain your training. Continuing to improve yourself will result in more attention from others." For the first time in years, Naruto smiled at the Hokage. "Thanks, Lord Hokage." The Hokage smiled at him again. "We extend a warm welcome to Naruto, your guest. Is there anything you'd like to ask me?" Kurenai is probably not the most popular among them, but his clan wasn't a hoax. The Hokage blinked and inquired, "Why did you not mention anything about the Uzumaki clan?" The Uzumaki clan was a crucial topic that you were expected to cover in your history classes at the academy. He racked up the energy to remember whether Irika or another teacher had gone beyond it, and then he blushed due to embarrassment. She said, "Oh, I see. It's possible that I didn't get into the class I was in." As he looked at him, Kurenai let out a grimace, and the Hokage laughed in wonder. "You've come to understand the value of attending every class, Naruto." Naruto said, "Yeah, please." He would have stayed in that class if he had been given the chance to learn about his family. He would probably skip his other classes if they were too uninteresting. "I apologize for my mistake, Lord Hokage." With a smile on his face, the Hokage expressed. "Naruto's apology has been accepted. If nothing else, you can always go where you want." Naruto's smile was shared once again before he faced Kurenai. "Will you be with me soon, Naruto?" "Kurenai-sensei?" "Lord Hokage, I have a question to answer." Naruto left the Hokage's office in a positive mood by nodding and walking back out. Although the old man was still concealing his parents' existence, it was a relief to find out that he hadn't falsely claimed to be responsible for their deaths. Naruto's knowledge should not be concealed, as it was his responsibility to inform him. After Naruto's departure, Kurenai was confronted by the Hokage army. Lord Hokage, now that Team 7 has taken a break, can we also anticipate Teams 8 and 10 to have some downtime so they can catch up with their old classmates? Conditions granted. Naruto stood outside the Hokage's office, waiting for Kurenai to finish her tasks. He found it surprising that he did not attend a class that focused on his family. The village was able to recognize and remember his family, even though it was an exasperating situation that could have taken him personally. He was also reminded that there were still close associates of the Uzumaki clan, which made him wonder about his ancestry. He had a sense that the Uzumaki, who was mentioned on the memorial stone and called Kushina, was associated with it in some way. The village needed an item that belonged to the Uzumaki, such as a scroll with techniques or other valuable items. He knew he had the potential to become a Genjutsu master, but if L wanted to face someone who was good at breaking through, his skills would have to be taken. Despite the difficulty of learning, he would be glad to learn sealing or a form of ninjutsu. Naruto was retrieved from his hiding place by Kurenai, who asked, "Are you all set?" Naruto's expression was one of pure happiness, as he smiled. She said, "Yeah, let's go." Following that, they began to depart from the Hokage's office. Kurenai inquired, "What steps did you take to conquer your Genjutsu problem?" "I was in the land of waves and asked Kakashi-sensei to aid me with my Genjutsu. I discovered that the nine-tailed fox's chakra would either block any of my collected chakra or prevent me from using an illusion." "I had the same idea," Kurenai conveyed. Naruto nodded as he spoke. "Very well, Kurenai-sensei, I did just redirect the nine-tails chakra and now I can effortlessly cast Genjutsu." Kurenai's expression was one of pure happiness, as he smiled. "Good job, Naruto," said the Japanese anime. "You're on the brink of becoming a true Genjutsu pro." Naruto's expression was sweet. Kurenai is commended by Naruto, but it's important to acknowledge that there are still opportunities for him to improve his skills as a Genjutsu practitioner. "Why do you teach me dodge but not punch or kick?" Kurenai asked. "You would not have expected to face an S-rank ninja in such a brutal fight, but I've been surprised by what happened. Regardless, I'll continue to train your taijutsu abilities." Smoking, I thought to myself, that was a good response. Naruto nodded. "It's fantastically good to hear. I'm willing to acquire knowledge." "Excellent. Meet me at Training Ground 7 approximately. It will be 3 hours from now. To put it simply, bring all of your teammates. My team will also be joining me, and I'll see if Asuma's team can squeeze in some quality time to relax before departing for the day. Bring along some swimming gear as well." Naruto's eyes flicked as he gazed. "What's the reason behind it?" Kurenai responded with a wink. "It's unexpected." "Okay, I'll see you later." Kurenai grinned and held her hands tightly before disappearing into a sea of leaves. While Naruto hoped that the day would be peaceful without becoming filled with adrenaline, Kurenai's smile wasn't going to ease his unrelenting anxiety. It's possible that he will be anxious about that in the future. Naruto went to Takashi's store and bought his necessities. After a few minutes of walking, Naruto made his way back to his hometown. After entering the shop, Naruto heard a jingling sound and quickly headed to the clothing section. A blue wave pattern pair of orange swimming shorts with a knee-length was discovered by him after some minutes. While en route, he came across a girl with brown hair at the counter. While holding a kunai with both index fingers, she seemed to be doing just as she was supposed to. In her pockets were a pair of sealing scrolls that protruded. Her chakra reserves were slightly larger than Sakura's, suggesting a lack of significant size. It appears that Sakura had a moderately high degree of chakra for genitalia. It appeared to use her chakra levels as a benchmark for comparing other chakra types. Few people would compare him if he were to use his. Naruto said, "There, Takashi. What's happening?" Takashi patted the sweat from his face and smiled. "Naruto, I'm doing fine. I've recently closed a significant deal on weapons." Naruto inquired, "Do you have any information about that girl?" He only saw her protector on the side of the head, but she was clearly a ninja. Takashi nodded his head in agreement. Tenten's primary objective is to procure kunai, shuriken, and all my other weaponry from this location. Kurenai isn't aware of my decision to not give a discount to Tenten, as she is my top and preferred customer. She finds it appealing and chooses this store as her shopping destination instead of other options. Naruto's gaze broadened inward and became wider. It appeared to be similar in tone to what Takashi was doing for him. In the context of business, would you treat Tenten in the same way if she only bought a few weapons? My livelihood is dependent on my ability to offer discounts to everyone. Tenten's passion for weapons and her good character make me feel like I have a personal connection with her. With a small smile, Naruto exclaimed, "Oh, okay, that's all right." He resorted to thinking of Ichiraka ramen, but he got rid of those negative thoughts. "What did you spend the past 2 weeks doing?" "We were able to rescue a country," and Takashi was all smiles. "Naruto, you are an erratic child. If you happen to be lucky, you'll end up in the most bizarre and unbelievable circumstances." Before recollecting the reason for his presence in the store, Naruto smiled. "Are these available for purchase?" Naruto resorted to buying the shorts he had taken and displaying them on the counter. Takashi gathered them and placed the shorts in a bag before taking them. Takashi expressed his gratitude by saying, "Thanks for joining us, Naruto." Naruto's expression was one of pure happiness, as he smiled. "We extend a warm welcome to you." "We'll see you later," he exclaimed. His sensor ability was a source of relief from the painful pain, which he gladly avoided otherwise. Sakura inquired of Naruto, "Where are you located?" Naruto responded to the question, "Me?" I was about to go, by saying that he had no intention of leaving. Upon entering Takashi's shop, the woman entered and was there to steal something from Sakura. Instead of greeting Kurenai, he focused on the other two people who entered. Ino and Hinata were present, but they had not seen each other since their departure from the academy. Naruto always regarded Hinata as odd, yet she managed to remain invisible with her distinct blue hair and white eyes. During that moment, he detected a chakra signature that was peculiarly familiar surrounding her eyes. He had knowledge of Ao's ability to see all around him. He nodded and opened his eyes to find Hinata's face ablaze with red light. It was a constant occurrence when she was with him. Honestly, it brought to mind the way Sakura or Ino looked at Sasuke, and that was just not accurate. The fact that he was part of the Hyuga clan made Hinata aware of his inability to attract any potential suitors. Naruto asked, "What's your job here?" "That's not something I can reveal," Kurenai affirmed. Naruto thought Kurenai's eyes were dazzling for a second, but when he looked again, they appeared to be the same bright red color. Naruto remained silent and chose to leave the dragon's claw and 4 kunoichi behind for his new shorts. Upon arriving home, Naruto removed his forehead protector and ninja clothing, but he still wore orange shorts and a white shirt with an orange spiral in the middle. While leaving his house, Naruto formed a shadow clone who ran towards the old Uchiha compound, taking hold of one of his beach towels. With his sensor, Naruto rushed to Kakashi's house and verified that the person was there. While on his journey, Naruto rehearsed ways to ensure Kakashi wouldn't be late. Lateness was not something Kurenai would tolerate, and he didn't want to disappoint his Genjutsu teacher and friend. Finally, Naruto arrived at Kakashi's residence and proceeded to knock on his door. Naruto's words were spoken as Kakashi opened the door and looked down. "You're my hero, Naruto, and I couldn't find a better person to describe us." Naruto replied with a calm tone, his friend Kakashi-sensei, everything's fine. If you're not busy, why don't you join Sakura, Sasuke, and me at Training Ground 7 to build a team? I think that's a good point. Sasuke and Sakura will be brought by me. I'll be there as soon as possible. Naruto responded with a blurry no. Kakashi laughed back, you can't be late to the party. Alright. I'll be there no matter what time it is. He placed his hand in his pocket. Naruto, I want to tell you something since you're here. Naruto nodded and walked into Kakashi's apartment, which was smaller than his own. Kakashi returned from Naruto's house with a picture frame after Naruto had spent 10 minutes walking around. In front of the camera, a man with blonde hair was smiling and holding up two boys' heads with his palms, while an attractive girl with brown hair and purple facial features smiled and tuckered her arms inwards. Both hands were held in the V signage. The picture was almost indistinguishable from his genitalia photo. Kakashi-sensei, is this your genin team? When this picture was taken, I was already in a chunin state, but my teammates were also genin. I was treated with high regard by Minato-sensei, who took care of me after I became a genital defector. Naruto inquired if your sensei was the fourth Hokage. Is it not obvious? Kakashi asked. It's not a secret, really. But not all of that is the case. Naruto's eyes flicked as he gazed. I don't know, what am I supposed to ask? Naruto nodded off in amazement. Let it go without saying. With a nod, Kakashi proceeded to move forward. I am willing to share some stories about my sensei at any point in the future, if you prefer. He grinded without hesitation. I'm praising you, Kakashi-sensei. Come on over to Training Ground 7 and don't forget to wear swimsuits. Kakashi exhibited Naruto's signature smile. I'll be there for you when I see you. Naruto left Kakashi's apartment and reflected on how fortunate it was to have him as his teacher, the fourth Hokage. Naruto's only response to the memories of his shadow clone was a grunt, as he said, ugh. Upon discovering the final Uchiha training session in an old Uchiha academy, Naruto said, Hey, Sasuke. Sasuke asked, feeling drained. Do you still have 2 days left until our vacation or did you forget? Me, Sakura and Kakashi-sensei will be heading to Training Ground 7 for a team-building exercise. Would you like to be a part of our team? It's not likely to take a long time. Sasuke's refusal to accept the offer of cool caught Naruto off guard. Greetings from the Training Ground 7 area, TG7. Even if Sasuke refused Naruto's invitation, Kakashi would have still convinced him to come. He decided to go to Shikamaru's place after the situation had settled, as he had an opportunity to spend an hour or two there before the fun started. Furthermore, he had not been in touch with Shikamaru or his parents for a long time. Naruto's expression was one of grumbling. A shadow clone who possessed one of his Shiki pieces defeated a shadow clan currently employed by Shikamaru. Naruto and Shikamaru's Shiki pieces were modeled after their black and white counterparts, but with minor variations to indicate which types of art were used. I didn't succeed, Naruto declared. Shikamaru's signature drawl was, Naruto, don't worry, let me know how it goes, he said. Naruto was informed by Shikamaru that he and his team set out on a C-rank mission and returned the day before, having left the village. You're on my radar, and I believe you can surpass me one day. It's imperative for me to think strategically before I can beat you. Naruto's expression was a smile. Shikamaru deserves my thanks. We have 30 minutes until Training Ground 7, so I'm ready to play again, Shikamaru replied with a nod. Go ahead, I'm willing to do whatever works for you. They speedily restarted, and Naruto took the first step. Normally, Shikamaru had an answer for every plan but this time came up with a new strategy which I was sure would put lots of pressure on him. I'm surprised that you enjoyed this game, Shikamaru stated. Naruto smeared his nose. You made learning effortless. If you're as good as this, then I bet you have spent years playing this. Shikamaru gave a smirk of surprise. It's true that I've only been playing for a few months now. I was given it by Asuma. Initially, I thought it was unsatisfactory, but it's actually better than that. Naruto's expression was one of horror, and he took a step back. If Shikamaru was already of this quality, would it mean that you are serious? Naruto, you're not a genius, but Shikamaru is. Naruto's arms were extended as he laid them down. You're still a smart person, even with your current level of intelligence. Shikamaru's expression was one of dismissal, shrugging off his worries. Naruto and Shikamaru gradually lost their balance against each other as the game continued. Shikamaru pressed his lips together. Say hi to Naruto, my darling. Naruto answered, yeah, I understand. He responded by saying that he had resolved the Genjutsu problem. Whenever I tried Genjutsu, my chakra would become very odd, but I managed to stabilize it and am now able to use it. After directing one of his clones, Shikamaru stated that it was not bad. Alright, a decent thing. You'll become a master of Genjutsu in no time. One of Naruto's clones was moved onto the makeshift board, causing his smile to widen as he played. Shikamaru, you can't believe it, he said. The game ended in the end. Despite losing again, Naruto was aware of his growing proficiency in the game and its planning capabilities. He would have a plan in his mind, but it would be as flexible as possible to allow him to change it and surprise his adversary without any hesitation. Naruto seems to be getting better, said Shikaku. I wonder if I should just join in and see how I'll fare against the Blade of Illusion. Naruto's frozen state was evident. It's up to me to uncover that, Shikaku remarked. No matter how tiresome it may be, I have no problem with it. It's rare to hear about genin who has completed S-rank missions or had their names published in bingo books. Shikamaru's pupils widened slightly. Amazing. I can't imagine doing something so dangerous in such a short time. It would be a burdensome task. In any case, I'll go inside and make a change. Naruto stated, I had the impression that you wouldn't join us, as he readied another shiki match. Shikamaru mumbled, why don't we sun-kissed for a few hours? It's not possible to do that. I'm making the most of this opportunity. Shikamaru exited the vehicle. Several minutes later, he returned to his outdoor attire, donning dark gray swim trunks and a light green shirt. A dark green towel was placed around his neck while he took a bath. Shikaku was seated on the porch with a lazy smile, while Naruto lay on his back, palms holding his head. Naruto expressed his sorrow, wondering why I lost so much in such a short time. There are still many things you need to learn about Naruto, Shikaku declared, implying that he was enjoying his suffering. The range of natural talent is limited. Unlike a prodigy, veterans have more experience and gain more life experience over time. Naruto rose from his position and jumped up to his feet. It was Shikamaru's turn to return. Shikamaru, are you ready to go? Yeah, okay. Dad, I hope you're feeling refreshed. Mr. Speaker, I'll be back later. Naruto stated that Nara was his character. You too, take a break, Shikaku declared. Naruto, have dinner with you at some point. Even if Shikamaru isn't present, you can still come with me and Yoshino. Naruto's expression was one of pure happiness. Shikamaru and Naruto were in the kitchen when Yoshino was seen holding a bottle of sunscreen, exclaiming, I will. Keep your sunscreen on. Yoshino urged. Shikamaru asked, is it necessary? Shikamaru was smothered by sunscreen before he could finish, and said, it's such a. While Shikamaru was removing the sunscreen from his mouth, Yoshino turned to Naruto. Naruto, you have a decision to make. Should you choose to apply the sunscreen or do it yourself to avoid getting scorched by the sun? Naruto asked, but he consented to Yoshino doing so instead. The occurrence made him feel like an authentic self to him, and he smiled at the same time. Naruto expressed gratitude for his friendship with Shikamaru and his parents' warm welcome in their home. Naruto and Shikamaru walked into Training Ground 7, a practice area with verdant grass that turned into light brown sand and ended at the mouth of eucalyptus. Shikamaru departed from Naruto to seek refuge on the training ground and enjoy some sun. While seeking his own relaxation spot, Naruto took the opportunity to observe who had joined them. While Kakashi read his book Ika Ika Paradise, Sasuke was standing in the lake center, attempting to create a dragon of fire. He seemed unstoppable, there was no barrier to his progress. While wearing a white shirt and black shorts, Kakashi kept his forehead protector and mask on. Sasuke's outfit comprised a black shirt with the Uchiha fan on its back and plain white shorts, as he had forgotten his arm warmers and forehead protector. Naruto proceeded to the shore, while Chai followed Shikamaru and donned a white shirt with slicked-off stripes and red shorts. Wearing a black shirt and white shorts with gray patches of smoke on them, Asuma sat close to his genitalia, smoking cigarette. Naruto said, "Hey, Chai, Asuma-sensei." Chai said, "Hello, Naruto." Asuma smiled and lit his cigarette. "It's nice to see you back." As Kiba Inuzuka approached the group, his dog Akamaru followed him closely, and he asked if I was here with him. He wore dark brown shorts with pictures of aggressive dogs on them. The boy and his dog were soaked in water. The water, as you can tell, is quite refreshing. Okay, that's correct. Akamaru chuckled at the compliment. After nodding and giving Kiba a smile, Naruto turned around and saw Shino Aburame, who was wearing his typical jacket and brown pants. Although he wasn't wearing a protector over his forehead, it was still present. "Shino, why are you not wearing swimsuits?" Naruto inquired. Shino inquired, "What's the reason behind it?" "Water has a negative impact on me, as I find it difficult to tolerate." Shino's hand was outstretched, and the black insects that emerged crawled from under his sleeve then collected on his exposed arm. "My Kakashi are not one of them." Naruto stated, "I'll take what you say." In any case, I assumed Sakura and the other girls would be present in this location. Kiba said, "Beat me," and asked if you could tell where they were. In the end, I and Akamaru are set to resume swimming. Kiba and Akamaru swam in the lake before anyone could make a convincing argument. Naruto smiled as he felt the 4 chakra signatures come closer to the field. It appears that they have reached their destination. He experienced a momentary disappearance of one of the signatures, but the source of that signature reappeared elsewhere. Sasuke interrupted Naruto's focus as he said, "Give me your attention, son." His shirt-holding posture revealed his well-toned physique. Naruto's expectations were surpassed by his softened voice that emerged. "You said, this is going to be a fun team-building activity. Had I been aware that we were going to spend time with Shino and these other defeated teams, I would have opted to stay at home." Naruto's expression was a murmur. "Are you here because Kakashi-sensei won't permit you to leave?" In spite of it, Sasuke stated, before departing to his own abode. Kiba inquired, "What's the matter with him?" as he emerged from the water. Naruto's expression was one of dismissal. "That's the way he is. Nevertheless, his faults are not as significant as they seem to be." Kiba expressed a smile. Okay. He pointed his head at the entrance of the training ground. "Shino, please take a look at this." Kiba stated that. Sakura, Ino, and Hinata were walking towards the group. The fact that they were dressed in their usual outfit caused Kiba to have a frown. "You're not wearing anything that is appropriate, girls," Ino quipped. "Kiba, I was completely unaware that you were like that. Either way, it's not important. Girls, it's time to knock them down." Sakura, Ino, and others raised their bare hands in the ram seal while making a grimace. Hinata did the same, but her fingers were tingling. Sleep, was the response when Sakura, Ino, and Hinata stood in front of the genin group, their sudden change in clothing, after the smoke dissipated. While wearing a well-fitting green one-piece swimsuit, Sakura was caught in the crossfire of panic and stared around. Ino was doing the same thing, but unlike Sakura, she noticed how people were looking at her. Her toned core and tony legs were highlighted by a purple two-piece swimsuit that perfectly captured her body's gradual evolution. Hinata was showing a sharp, red flush and staring down. She was dressed in a lavender one-piece swimsuit, and Naruto was surprised to learn that Hinata had bigger breasts than Ino. Her legs were well-defined as well. Naruto had a preference for one of the three girls, who all appeared attractive and had unique qualities. Sakura's hair and eyes, Ino's self-like face and body, Hinata, bleary eyes, left, and her breasts, right, were his favorite subjects. Despite the fact that she wasn't present among them, he found her when a friend turned him. Kurenai was positioned towards the group while wearing an orange-red bikini top that was tied around the neck. The outline of a bikini bottom that matched her top was barely visible, as it was concealed by an orange sash that covered most of her right leg and moved in line with Kurenai's strides, leaving her left leg in view. Naruto observed that Kurenai's swimsuit highlighted her most desirable physique, her firm, supple breasts, well-defined abs and toned legs. Naruto was aware of the struggle Kurenai faced to preserve his stunning appearance, which made him shiver with emotion after seeing him naked. He surveyed the general public to gauge their reactions. After lowering his book, Kakashi glanced at Kurenai briefly and then returned to it with a kind-hearted look. Asuma looked at Kurenai with a hunger pangs. Kurenai maintained a momentary stare at him, but then turned his gaze away. While Naruto observed that Kiba took a keen interest in Sakura and Ino, he also showed admiration towards Kurenai and Hinata. For an extended period of time, Chai had been staring at Ino, but then she averted her gaze when Inu tried to make eye contact. Shikamaru had looked at the girls and quickly returned to observing the clouds, but when Ino wasn't looking, he turned around and caught a glimpse of her body. Shino, like Kiba, had been staring at Hinata and Kurenai, but his Kikai were so fast asleep that he decided to stop starving. Sasuke's gaze widened towards Kurenai, and Naruto was taken aback to see her as the only one who looked. Like Shikamaru, he didn't take notice of the other girls. It's hoped that Sakura and Ino weren't let down by his apparent disregard for them. While Naruto couldn't help but smile, he was happy to be free from being too caught up in Kurenai's newcomer look. Ino lowered her eyebrows and put her hands on her knees while asking, "What's the problem, Naruto?" Hinata asked Ino, "Do you want to look at me?" Her answer was no, but her expression was so dark that Ino didn't even notice. After analyzing Ino's words, Naruto began to think about how her body was like Kurenai, smooth and soft. Naruto realized that Ino and Kurenai were not able to match up. Naruto's response was, "No thanks, Ino. Kurenai's body is unmatched." His mouth was so big that Naruto's eyes widened as he cursed. Naruto was met with a smile from Kurenai, who then shrugged off his comments. Hinata looked crestfallen while Sakura was laughing at Ino, her blushing face taking a beating. Ino's words left Naruto feeling an overwhelming sense of regret, even more so than his comments about Kurenai. Ino's face was a bright pink hue as she shouted, "Naruto!" His blue-green eyes indicated that she was going to kill him. He sprinted onto the water to escape Ino's clutches, channeling chakra towards his feet to maintain his balance. He was extremely grateful for his ability to walk on water, as Ino's tackle would have easily flattened him. His feet were buried in the sand, and he emerged from the surface with only one knee. Ino landed and spat out water while scorning others with his scowling expression. With her fist out, she let go of her mouth. Why did Ino say something like, "Why am I holding the shirt of Naruto?" Sakura was barely able to keep her jaw down as Hinata blushed and returned. The sight of Kurenai licking her full lips made him blush. His chest and abs were slim yet firm, his arms and shoulders were chiseled and his legs were well-defined and toned. Despite not being perfect, he had made significant strides in the last month. The attention on Naruto's character was making him feel a bit uneasy. Was he now visible to everyone? Someone tugged on his shoulder, almost breaking his heart. But he didn't have to be nervous. "Your shirt is what I have," Ino stated. His body was swept away by her eyes. Naruto embarrassed himself by rubbing the back of his head and wearing his wet shirt. That's great," she said. "I'm sorry, but I don't remember what happened to me earlier." Before giving Naruto a creepy smirk, Ino put her finger on her chin. Naruto was almost unable to find any oxygen as he witnessed water drips rolling down Ino's midsection, making her radiant in the sun. Ino's smile grew larger as her eyes flickered. "Hm. If you come out tomorrow, you can make it possible for me to be up there with you." Naruto inquired, "Do you believe it?" Ino nodded. I'll say. "Naruto, come to my house and pick me up at 8. It's going to be a date." Naruto's reaction was uncertain, causing Ino to laugh with laughter. "We're not going anywhere, we should be having fun." She proceeded to leave. Naruto was still astonished by the events that took place. What was the process that led to him going on a date with Ino? He and Kurenai were paired up, with Kakashi and Sasuke waiting to face each other, but the latter was still shirtless. "Sasuke, you've earned it." Sakura and Ino chanted with enthusiasm. "Naruto," Kurenai whispered to his followers. Naruto nodded and suppressed his blush as he asked, "Do you like my outfit? There's a lot of orange, alright? Orange is my preferred hue, you know." Kurenai's expression was a murmur. "I acknowledge that." The volleyball was thrown by her and she successfully hit it over the makeshift net. With precision, Kakashi hit the volleyball back and accurately predicted the ball's destination. It was evident that he had his Sharingan. "Sasuke, what do you want?" Kakashi inquired. "Our team-building exercise is now a reality. Make sure to activate your Sharingan now." Kakashi's words were echoed by Sasuke. Despite the Sharingan's usefulness, Kakashi was losing focus as he continued to use it. The vision that Naruto had for Kakashi to be fully aware was far from being a reality. The outfit worn by Kurenai was remarkably self-explanatory. If his Sharingan allowed him to observe and memorize details accurately, he must have been interested in witnessing Kurenai's breast movements and body movement as she moved with each step or the way her body responded when she hit the ball. Sasuke had a shot sent straight up the air, but Naruto managed to stop him by hitting the ball into the sky. Kurenai seized the opportunity presented by Kakashi's lack of direction and sent the ball back down the field, scoring the goal. Kakashi shook his head and pulled his forehead protector back. "We'll give it a chance once more." He utilized the ball and searched for the appropriate moment to score. Kakashi spun twice and jumped in the air after Kurenai hit back the ball with a bump. "Leaf Hurricane," is Kakashi's winning expression, as he kicked a roundhouse kick that sent the ball into the opposing half and earned himself the point. To maintain his composure, Naruto made sure not to look at Kurenai too closely. As the day progressed, he faced off against different teams that utilized various tactics to emerge victorious. Wind Chakra was used by Asuma to either accelerate or decelerate the ball, while Shikamaru would prevent opponents from playing until he had been convinced to play. The most impressive duo was Kiba and Akamaru, who skillfully crafted intricate combinations to take down their rivals in battle, with Aqua as the perfect example of both players. Despite their differences, Sakura and Ino both performed admirably. It took a lot of effort to get Sasuke to fall in love with him, especially considering they were both fighting for his affection. During the day, the Genin and Jnin group enjoyed a peaceful existence that kept them from contemplating the harsh reality of their world and strengthened their bonds. Naruto returned home after taking a refreshing shower at his own waterfall and then laid down on his mattress. He disregarded his wet hair that washed on his pillow and contemplated how he had thoroughly enjoyed his time with Kurenai and the others. Despite the short duration of his life, the last day may have been one of the most joyous. Knowing that death was not his preference, he believed that if a person did it for the right reasons, they would be content. Therefore, there was no reason for him to miss the day of rest. In the end, he was haunted by the idea of going on a date with Ino. Her address had been given to him and she had advised him not to be late, but he was unaware of his actions. Sakura had always been interested in him, but now he's going on a date with her old friend, which was unexpected. He was accustomed to taking his date out to a restaurant, dressed in formal attire. He had the notion of dating Kurenai, but later on, he dismissed the idea. He was much younger than Kurenai. She didn't become interested until he reached maturity. Moreover, he didn't have the same level of affection for her as a couple. Despite his dislike for Ino, he went on this date. Why is this so perplexing? He leaned over to sleep, trying to run away from all these strange thoughts and reactions. When he closed his eyes, his mind displayed various scenes from the past in a sort of slideshow. His final thought before entering the realm of dreamland was Kurenai's stunning physique, just as he had seen it on the first day they had crossed paths. Upon awakening, Naruto deactivated his alarm clock. Feeling rejuvenated, he got up and removed his pajamas to cover himself in a black shirt and orange pants. Naruto removed his cleaning supplies after brushing his teeth and having breakfast. With only a day of rest remaining, he would make use of it to clean his apartment from top to bottom. He had already placed all of his unclean garments in a bag and had someone from the Shadow Clone take them to the laundry room before he got started. Naruto commenced the task of cleaning his apartment in earnest after the clone's departure. He put in a lot of effort and once his house was cleaned, he discarded his cleaning supplies and scrubbed the sweat from his forehead. Naruto sighed as he observed the sun's position outside his window. Naruto was aware of having only 3, maybe 4 hours before his date with Ino, despite the fact that he had spent most of the day cleaning his house. Before leaving his house, Naruto decided to stretch out his back muscles and take a deep shower. He then chose to walk to alleviate the butterflies in his stomach. Naruto's pace was slow as he slowly locked the door behind him and proceeded to walk through the red light district. While most of the places were preparing for business, Naruto kept walking and received warm greetings from the women around him. Naruto understood that life had a purpose, and even prostitution, or the gentleman's escort, held significant value. He was aware of the impact of being excluded and ostracized. He would never do it to another person. After that, he came to a halt. Let's take a moment to chat. Shouldn't at least one of these women know what a guy should do on Saturday when they go out? Naruto just went up to one and poked her arm. As soon as Naruto turned around, the butterflies in his stomach began to rust. With her hair dyed dark brown to the small of her back, she wore a purple kimono that was cut off around her thighs, while her other creamy skin was exposed. The woman's loose thigh was visible as the kimono appeared to be slightly exposed. Naruto blinked and looked at the woman's dark blue eyes, which were covered in mascara. Naruto's eyes were lit up with a radiant smile from the woman who looked at him. Naruto sneezed, offering his help in the form of a, "What can I do for you, little boy?" If you were dating, what would be your ideal response from the man? That's a good question to ask, she replied. She extended Naruto's hand. Why don't you go inside, so I can give you your full attention when I deliver it? Okay. He took the woman's soft, smooth hand and entered a building with tables and chairs that spread across the room. She guided him to her room, which was shrouded in darkness and had a table made of solid oak with reclining chairs. A picture frame was the only object on the table, with a wooden chair situated in front of it. Please take a seat and let's unwind, the woman repeated in her seductive tone. After fulfilling her request, Naruto sat on her chair. She placed her chin on her fingernails and maintained eye contact with Naruto. You're asking if I would accept a date with you, right? Naruto responded by saying, I wouldn't let you go. What would you like your date to do if you were dating? The woman quipped. In the beginning, what are your thoughts on dating? She paused for a moment. Naruto nodded and said, what is your name? You may call me Masane, if you prefer. Naruto stated that he knows how to dress himself and take his date to a restaurant or something. There's been a lack of substance in what we have. Masane pressed her red lips shut. You only need that sort of thing for a first date. Nonetheless, the other components are significant. Your dress, mannerisms, and attitude are all crucial if you want your date to be with you again. The importance of body language cannot be overstated. The act of fidgeting gives the impression that you're getting restless. Your gaze indicates boredom if you look at yourself in a distant manner, and your gaze suggests that you are not paying attention to her, making it more likely that your girl thinks you're rude. Naruto nodded as he spoke. Masane's stomach was causing him to burst with gas, so he attempted to conceal his nervousness with just one glance. Would it be nice to give my date something like flowers or a gift? The girl's response is what makes it important. Masane shifted one of her long legs over the other. I would be open to receiving a present, but the man's company is what I am most drawn to. Assuming the man is genuine, I would be aware of the situation by the end of my date. If he isn't, then I will be disappointed. I value time as much as my body. Towards the conclusion, Masane's voice had become unsettling. Naruto responded by taking a deep breath and allowing his ninja training to take effect. Don't be dishonest and have a genuine interest in the girl, right? Masane nodded. That's the truth. Don't waste your time on lying. I'm not sure how to tell if a man is interested in me or just waiting for the right moment to make sex out of me, even though it may be considered womanly. If you're not interested in your girl's words, please do me a favor. Don't be dishonest. If you lie, both you and your significant other will be spared from any suffering. Naruto's posture was such that he stood up straight away. I feel confident about my next move. Thanks, Masane. Before you leave, I have some information for you. Naruto's back was covered in sweat as Masane placed her mouth on his ear. If things don't work out with your girl, then just come back to me and I'll make you feel so incredibly happy. Naruto's abrupt backlash was triggered by his inability to control his blushes. What? Prompted Masane to return to her chair. Don't be anxious about it. I don't like how you were at your age, but you're still young, she muttered. She had previously exhibited a lack of amusement, but now her dark eyes became sharp and focused. Exceeding that, one more thing. It's true that everyone has ulterior motives behind certain actions, and our world isn't always pure. It may not be accurate, but assure her that she only has feelings for you and not your girlfriend. If not. Masane breathed his lungs air. I must prepare to launch my business. Until next time, happy dating. Agreed with, then. Masane, Naruto expressed gratitude and thanked you for your help. She exhibited a charming smile on him, which Naruto remembered as he exited Masane's room. Naruto was surprised by Masane's intimidating behavior, even though she had access to chakras and is a civilian. It could be that her ability to control others' emotions was the cause, or it could have been a different reason. He now had a better understanding of the emotions that come with using sexy jutsu on someone. Naruto shook his head in an instant. A date to be ready for was also within his reach. Naruto made sure to take a shower again to eliminate the dirt and grime that he didn't remove while cleaning his house. Prior to examining the garments, he ensured that his undergarments were clean and maintained good hygiene by brushing his teeth, keeping his hair short while wearing slippers. The garment was a black kimono with orange swirls. He reminisced about the time when the Hokage bought it for him and how pleased he was. He was able to wear it once more. After donning the snug kimono, Geta sandals, and walking out of his apartment again, but this time to Ino's place instead of wandering off like he did in the past. Naruto stumbled upon the Yamanaka clan compound after spending some time walking under the darkening sky. Naruto shook the gate and waited for a man with blonde hair and long spiky ponytail to arrive. Naruto noticed him strapped to a black shirt with the emblem of the Yamanaka clan on its breast and gray pants, carrying an unsuitable tant. "Come in," the man said. Naruto nodded and trailed him inside the compound. He took Naruto into his home, and after they arrived in his living room, he instructed him to sit down. The area was teeming with different types of blooms. While staring at Naruto, the man introduced himself as Inoichi. "Ino's dad is also a part of my family." Naruto said, "Good to see you again," with a relaxed tone. "Thank God," Inoichi said with a nod. "Shikaku is always impressed with you, as he told me." While Naruto smiled, he felt Inoichi's gaze fade away. "Nevertheless, I'm not at all impressed with you taking your daughter out on a date." Naruto asked, "What is the reason behind it?" Inoichi directed his gaze towards Naruto's stomach. "It's all about the things you possess. The nine-tailed fox's attack on the village has caused significant damage, and I am aware of how the human mind works. The container of the demon fox, you are held responsible for their hatred and resentment." Naruto's expression was one of a frown. "I acknowledge that. What's your perspective on how the village would respond if you were still with Ino?" Inoichi inquired. She said, "My daughter doesn't deserve to be hated because of who she chooses to associate with. The nine-tailed fox's actions were not his fault, so Naruto shouldn't be ashamed. Do you think I had a strong desire for this? Although I respect your conduct, I cannot rely on the villagers to prevent their hatred towards you from impacting my daughter. Despite her appearance, Ino is still part of our village and I can't resist her presence. Even if I try, she'll still be attracted to you. Why bother telling me? She even asked me out on a date with her." He got up from his chair. "Don't worry, mister." Despite his efforts, Yamanaka was unable to suppress his anger or show any respect for the man who dismissed him for something he had no control over. "I'll only ask Ino out on a few dates, not when she wants to." The statement made by Naruto did not appear to alter Inoichi's expression, but it was still inconsequential. "I'll be patient outside. Tell Ino that I'll be waiting for her. I pray we will never see each other again." "Very well," Inoichi declared. "Mr. Abdullah, I'm sorry to say that it's not the way things are," she said. "Yamanaka is inconsequential." Naruto exited Inoichi's dwelling and the Yamanaka encampment. He made frantic attempts to control his anger once he was outside. Despite using Ino's safety as a reason, he still dismissed him like everyone else. Naruto's inhalation was accompanied by an intense high. The only thing he had to do was go out on the date. Ino's words were so powerful that they almost surprised him, saying, "Good evening, Naruto." A purple dress that reached the middle of her calves and a silver necklace with matching earrings were worn by her. Her hair was embellished with a glittery band, but she kept it in her customary ponytail. A kind-hearted smile was shared between him and her. With a smile on his face, Naruto asked, "Are you going?" "All right." Naruto left the Yamanaka compound by taking Ino's hand out of his grasp. Naruto and Ino walked in a peaceful, yet still, walk beneath the star-filled sky. Naruto's anger from earlier had not diminished, despite his efforts to reduce it to a manageable level. Naruto's cleaning skills left Ino stunned, and he informed him of the same. "Naruto, can you tell me how your team is doing?" "They're doing okay, they don't matter. I have no idea what they've been up to, though. With the exception of yesterday, I hadn't seen them since last week." Ino nodded and added a flourish. "What has been your focus lately? Are you capable of detecting chakras?" inquired Ino. Naruto nodded as he spoke. "That's so pretty. My dad is the only one who can do that, and I am not acquainted with anyone else." Naruto's temper was slightly tense, but Ino didn't seem to be bothered. He knew what they were doing through Shikamaru, but he wanted to hear it differently. If she wasn't ignoring the whispers of some intruders, it would prevent her from hearing them. We've been practicing a lot and dedicating ourselves to training. Shikamaru was the one who proposed it, and if that lazy man wanted to do more than his part, then he must have been serious. It has made us all stronger. Naruto inquired if there were any exciting missions. I can tell you that our recent C rank is impressive. We were compelled to obtain this letter from a bandit camp. With his shadow possession jutsu, Shikamaru managed to knock out some of the guys, while I used my mind transfer tulip to distract them. Asuma-sensei was sent home with a letter, and Chai guarded our property. Must have been a source of amusement. Naruto's gaze widened and he realized his own presence. We are presently in this place, and we cannot find anything else. With a frown, Ino appeared dismayed. Naruto said, I want best ramen in the village, please. He guided Ino inside and after she took her seat, Naruto sat on the stool beside her. Would you mind if I could order a bowl of miso ramen? Naruto inquired. Tsuchi stated that there was a miso up ahead. What do you think I should do for your girlfriend? Ino's pink cheeks were a response, but Naruto kept their expressions low. I'm not the one with whom I converse. Give her as much as she wants. Upon hearing the words, Naruto expressed his deep regret. Ayam was given instructions by Ino and she quickly began preparing the bowl. The ramen stand was in awkward silence as Tsuchi and Ayam prepared Naruto and Ino's orders. Naruto felt like he was being wasted and the silence had become unbearable. He had no apparent cause to attack Tsuchi and Ayam, despite their kindness towards him. However, a more skeptical portion of him wondered if they were being selfish in order to make more money from him. Naruto asked, how is your clan training? Ino was on the brink of jumping out of her seat due to shock. I'm not entirely optimistic, it's going well. I'm almost done with the first phase of our clan's jutsu. It's a good thing to hear. Upon receiving his ramen, he began to consume food at a leisurely pace, recalling the manners and politeness of his younger days. Ino consumed her ramen at a similar pace to Ayam's, who was not very happy about it. Naruto abandoned the bowl after completing his serving of ramen. Naruto asked, are you still feeling hungry, as he was polite enough. Ino stated that it was not true. She had a clean bowl. After nodding and depositing his money on the counter, Naruto sat down before getting up from his seat. I am not alone in my opinion. Before departing, he glanced at Tsuchi and Ayam and gave them a small, regretful apology. It was just not a pleasant atmosphere in the village, which was supposed to be his preferred location. With Naruto, Ino was walking towards her house when she started to feel uneasy. Naruto's silence was unexpected, and she found it difficult to believe that he had such a strong impact. She was interested in learning more about him and his team. Her main focus was on uncovering Sasuke's true nature. She believed that Naruto would proudly boast about his team, but he had not yet done so. Despite her awkwardness at Ichiraka Ramen, she had enjoyed the date so far. Naruto claimed that he had taken a walk with her through the village without any clear direction. After departing from Ichiraka Ramen, he had the pleasure of being back in his own skin. Ino was amiable and energetic, and she also looked good. What are the objectives you're dedicated to? Ino inquired. Naruto's gaze towards Ino was a curious encounter. D ranks are the only thing that matters. A C rank mission was sent to us a few weeks ago. According to Naruto, we had to lead the bridge builder to the land of waves, he said. He didn't disclose to Ino that the mission had progressed to S rank, but he did provide her with information about the events in their fights between CHJR and AO. He knew that he was busy, but didn't overlook the sparkle in Ino's eyes when referring to Sasuke. Sasuke was praised by Ino, who went on to say, "Hey, I love you." The sight of blasting a fireball jutsu while he's in flight is simply jaw-dropping. There is always a motive behind something that we all want to avoid. The words spoken by Masane stuck in Naruto's thoughts. Naruto inquired if you had any regrets about asking Sasuke on a date, given his coolness. He was aware that mentioning Sasuke would be inappropriate, but he believed that Ino's affection for his teammate had diminished since she hadn't seen him for over 2 months. It appeared that Ino had a more profound crush on Sasuke. "You're aware of his condition," Ino declared. "That's the end of it." Naruto's mood reverted to its predate state as the event approached. "You're asking for details about your precious Sasuke? I don't see what you think of that boy. He'll never be able to meet your expectations." Ino looked up at him with a wide beam of admiration. "You have no idea what Sasuke's situation is like, as you are unaware of his past activities. Sasuke's family was lost in one night, and I can't fathom how he or she could have survived without them. Losing my family is a difficult experience for me, and I'm not sure what it feels like. I have never had a personal relationship, so what would you say about it? I understand that you're envious of Sasuke. He is not good enough for you, so you try to make him look foolish. You make a fool out of him by pretending to be like you, right? I'm not sure if my jealousy is anything to do with how Sasuke treats me." They positioned themselves at the doorway leading to Ino's dwelling. "He'll throw you out like expired milk and won't allow you to approach him. What is the reason behind his pain? It's because you won't be able to witness it." He swore off. "I am seeking your input to understand Sasuke's intentions and what he or she might do or not do." She splayed a finger in his face, shaking her heels. "I thought you were pretty cool and I would have liked you on this date, but now you're just a jealous, petty, depressing jerk. Don't ask me out because I never want to see your face again." Naruto's eyes flicked red as he looked at himself in anger. His hands swung in unison and his dogs became more sharp than usual. It was not worth the struggle. "Fine. I am indifferent." A painful look on Ino's face was accompanied by a momentary break before she turned her foot. While Naruto sighed and attempted to control his temper, she entered her house. He was about to commit a decision that would leave him with lasting regret, but he was content that remained. Naruto should have recognized that Ino unexpectedly asked him out. Even if Ino liked him enough to keep the relationship going, her father would make sure she rejected him like everyone else did. He repeatedly inquired as to why the village had such a negative opinion of him. Initially, he didn't make any effort to explain their animosity, but rather to live. They would gaze at and whisper about him if they didn't disregard him as it was their business. He used pranks to make people realize that he was not just a nuisance or pest. His expectations were not met, and the outcome was unsatisfactory. He was hated even more by the villagers. He discovered the reason for their animosity towards him, which was his role as the jailer of the nine-tailed fox. He had no intention of facing such a fateful event, but he would ensure that it didn't hinder his ability to pursue his aspirations. He wished to be Hokage for the sake of being recognized, but what was the actual meaning behind his wish? Even if he were, a person of this title would still feel trapped in the shadows of the devil fox. He had no interest in taking charge of a village that detested him for something he couldn't manage. Naruto's eyes bled with tears, but he managed to hold on without crying. He had grown weary of the agony and pledged to himself that he would never shed tears about his circumstances again. He looked up and realized that he was on the street towards his apartment. Masane made the right decision. Naruto's thought process was based on his own thoughts. Naruto was not subjected to oppression or ostracism in the red light district, unlike in previous times. In spite of this, he could hear melodious singing from the building where Masane was employed. Although she was probably just being nice, she made it clear that she would make him feel like $1,000,000 if his date didn't go according to his expectations. It's improbable that she would ever develop feelings for him. Despite the odds, Naruto persisted in walking and eventually arrived at his apartment. Upon entering, he folded his kimono and concealed it in his closet. He kicked off his sandals, changed into his pajamas, and thrashed down to his bed. He gazed down at his ceiling and concentrated on finding his center, allowing his emotions to drift away. The village's hatred would eventually dissipate, but this was just a temporary setback. He wouldn't stop until the village recognized his true self. Naruto completed a D-rank mission with Team 7 and was in his training clearing the following day. He had prevented his team from questioning the events between him and Ino by remaining detached and irritatingly polite. According to Sakura, she could retrieve Ino's information, but Sasuke likely didn't care either way. Despite being more difficult to deter, Kakashi was quick to acknowledge that he needed space. In any case, Naruto always stretched before he starts doing his training exercises. Kakashi had recommended some techniques to improve his taijutsu, and he needed them. It was still necessary for him to maximize the effectiveness of his fighting style, and he had to move quickly. The training had a profound effect on him, as his punches were faster and his kicks more forceful. Using his sensor, reflexes, and instinct, Naruto utilized his abilities to dodge and react to the attacks of other clones after summoning them. He found it amusing when he defeated his last clone. His laughter transformed into a full-throated, bitter-torn, frustrated expression. "It seems like a good date," Kurenai stated after attending the training. Naruto observed her smile, but he couldn't stop laughing at her. What made her care for him initially? Wasn't she close with friends? "Naruto, what's so funny?" Kurenai asked, irritated. Naruto ceased laughing at a moment and then reclined on the grass, cross-legged. "There is nothing. Had a great time and couldn't stop laughing." Kurenai's expression was one that indicated he didn't understand the situation. "Just wondering. What's the reason?" "I just want to ask if you're okay with it." Naruto stated that he was fine and said, "I'm okay," as per his statement. "Are we able to train now?" Kurenai asked. "Ew, that's fine. Your taijutsu will be the first thing I'll teach you." She positioned her forearms at the same height as her biceps and placed them on her shoulders. "I request that you strike my hand with all your might, as much as possible." Naruto's nod revealed his thoughts and recollections of the negative events that took place the previous day. Upon opening his eyes, he noticed blood-red hues and punched Kurenai's hand. Kurenai yelled out "NNHH" while placing her chakra on her hand. According to Naruto, that was not a bad result. "You didn't hit the right target with your kicks. Once more, but with a greater emphasis on your posture." Naruto nodded and delivered Kurenai his strongest blow, but with a proper strike. "Your punch was stronger, but now it's even weaker." "Hello, I'm sorry, don't ask too harshly," Naruto said. Kurenai expressed a smile. "I didn't do what I was supposed to do when I got stuck in my taijutsu." "Don't be bothered by that, Naruto. Eventually, you'll be around. To begin with, let's get started." The day's training had brought Naruto closer to becoming a proficient taijutsu fighter. Kurenai played a crucial role in improving his posture, positioning, timing, and power, fixing any deficiencies or setting the groundwork for further improvement. He had also detected Kurenai's hesitant glances and cautiousness when she suspected he wasn't interested. He found it helpful to reflect on his actions while walking with his sensei. Tsuchi, Ayame, Kakashi, and Kurenai were the ones he cared for deeply, so much so that his anger towards Ino, her father, as well as the village, was hurt. It left him feeling remorseful. Naruto and Kurenai eventually made it to the training area's perimeter. "It appears that this is the place where we end up." Kurenai's expression was one of frown and a lack of eye contact. "Naruto, I wish that you were better. Is it possible for me to achieve my goals?" Naruto asked if it was possible to walk Kurenai-sensei home, but he didn't want to delay the decision. Naruto was taken aback by Kurenai, but she nodded in agreement and returned Naruto's smile. They walked together in silence, and Kurenai's fears that their secret training would be revealed were all for entertainment, with no one actually seeing them walk. Naruto's perception was rather odd, but he wasn't going to accept it as a given. Naruto paused at the doorway leading to her apartment building. "Kurenai-sensei, thank you for allowing me to join you on your way home." Despite his circumstances, he persisted in looking at Kurenai's apartment. Kurenai inquired, "Would you like to have tea with me?" He nodded and almost shook his head. Upon meeting her, he had always harbored his desire to enter her home. After that, he led Kurenai into her apartment complex and proceeded to her fifth-floor flat. Naruto and Kurenai entered the apartment, taking off their sandals. The window of hers had a picturesque view of the village, and she had some plants hanging on the window ledge. Naruto sat on the couch and waited for Kurenai to come back from the kitchen. 2 cups of tea were consumed by her when she did. As she sat across from Naruto on the sofa, she gave him 1 cup. Naruto smiled as he gulped in his tea. "It tastes deliciously good." "Glad you feel that," Kurenai declared, beaming with joy. "I have a habit of making tea, but I don't follow it closely. It's just a bit of rambling for me." The compliment is appreciated by me. Naruto drank his tea and then placed the cup back on Kurenai. "You asked me about my date," Kurenai nodded and confirmed. "Is it terrible?" Naruto asked. "It's possible that this is the worst first date ever experienced. It is beyond belief that it could have been done differently." Naruto nodded as he spoke. It was a memorable moment. He proceeded to recount the events leading up to and during the date, including how he prepared for the event, his expectation of a successful date without any crushes, Inoichi's fearlessness, and how the actual date was satisfactory until Ino brought up an argument with his team, which ended up being too much for Ino to handle. Kurenai took a few seconds to gather her thoughts after he finished. "I understand the difficulty you must encounter when faced with such circumstances. Despite your behavior, Ino was unaware of how you were feeling. Despite not disclosing her feelings or father's words, she cannot be held entirely responsible for her lack of knowledge." Naruto smirked. "Don't give me that kind of information." Kurenai expressed his desire to avoid using such words in front of him, saying, "I hope you are not upset about it." He ranted about Kurenai's tongue-lashing behavior. "Sorry, Kurenai-sensei." He regained his frown. "It's not correct, though. The village treats me like the 9-tailed fox for no apparent reason, so why can't I treat them as well as they treat me? I think you're better off than that." Naruto responded with a negative response by saying, "I don't want to make anyone hate me. They're doing it already. In fact, it is. Don't let their discourteous conduct deter you from accepting the responsibility you've been given. If they were aware of your actions, they would never hate you. The 9-tailed fox's absence is primarily due to your contribution, which no one can take away from you." By keeping the 9-tailed fox in its seal, he was maintaining the village's safety. "I never had any idea that it was like that. You're doing a lot of good, even though you may not think so, by being yourself." He scowled at himself. "I didn't ask for this. Why would I? Even if I wanted to save the village, I don't want to be caught in the shadows of that damn fox. I desire people to acknowledge me as who I am." Moving towards him, she placed her hand in his arm and gently pressed it into place. "I acknowledge your request. I'm privileged to know you're both my classmate and friend, and it's wonderful to have the same qualities. I believe that Shikamaru, Takashi, and your fellow friends share your sentiments." After Kurenai touched his knuckles with her thumb, Naruto felt a surge of love that left him feeling slightly shaken. "Thanks to all of you. It holds great significance." Naruto was hugged by Kurenai, who then smiled. "We extend a warm welcome to you." He positioned his head on her shoulders back. "I simply desire that they could observe me for who I am. I'm putting in a lot of effort to prove them wrong, and I don't want to risk failure. I am at a loss as to what to do. Kurenai said, you are already on the right foot. I see you're just a good ninja, and with each day you become better. Your experience is not something anyone should go through, but I am confident that one day, the entire village will recognize your worth and beauty. Let me assure you that. Naruto's eyes were filled with tears, but he avoided crying in front of Kurenai. He was worried about her face or neck being exposed to water. Kurenai-sensei, I'm grateful for your help. Thank you. Naruto's brilliant blue eyes caught her gaze as she leaned back and observed him. I take pleasure in it. Don't be anxious about your date. I am confident that you will encounter a stunning woman who will love you with all her heart and soul in the future. It is my wish to hear that. Kurenai had a positive attitude towards Naruto in the Hidden Leaf, even though she was sympathetic towards him and had provided him with retribution for not seeing him through the village's hostile treatment. He looked out the window and recognized that he had been inside Kurenai's apartment for an extended period. I'll be heading back home shortly. Tomorrow is when I'll meet you. Kurenai also stood up. Okay, so that's it. She led him to the apartment's door and placed her hands on his shoulders. Naruto, you can always find a place to stay and be greeted. Are you able to comprehend that? No way. Naruto nodded as he spoke. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Ensure that you are taking care of yourself. Naruto smiled at Kurenai. Kurenai-sensei, vielen Dank. Naruto rushed home and contemplated Kurenai, only to discover that he had come across him. Currently, he has chosen not to pursue any romantic relationships. Those girls his age were either not as appealing to him or had families that would prevent them from having a relationship with him. He realized that they had not given him anything that an older woman or girl had already offered. His fascination with women, particularly Kurenai or Misane, was fueled by their captivating beauty, which outshone the potential of Sakura, Ino, or Hinata. Furthermore, the fact that he was a Jinchuriki was not known to all the women in the Leaf Village, and those who were attracted to him and linked with him did not acknowledge his true nature. Love and romance were not significant at the time. He had a group of friends who were supportive and his strength was steadily increasing. Despite the village's negative feelings towards him, he would still have to deal with it, regardless of the difficulty. His goal of mastering Genjutsu was unavoidable, and he would make every effort to achieve it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe for more content. Support the original author by clicking their profile link in the pinned comment of the first video of this series. They deserve the love. Want early access and exclusive content? Join my Patreon community, link below. Your support fuels these videos. Drop a comment with your thoughts, and I'll catch you in the next video. Stay entertained, stay safe.